Therefore, the primo position in the order. Any objection?
Well, Invincible just came out with its new season, and it's really difficult for us superhero fans to talk about anything else. This season promises to be filled with new challenges and trials for our favorite heroes, and it's bound to be far bloodier than before. We've already been introduced to a couple of new villains, who are definitely going to be a real pain to deal with. However, there's one group of antagonists that are particularly intriguing, due to their shady origins and strange otherworldly powers. If you've been keeping up with the latest season, you'd know that it's the Nefarious Order we're talking about. And in this marvelous video, we'll be taking a deeper dive into the dark secrets behind this villainous collective. Before we move ahead, please take a moment to hit like and subscribe. It might just be a small click for you, but to us, it means an awful lot. Now, it's time to put on some spandex, cause here we go. Who is the Order? Though the Order has always been present behind the scenes in the Invincible universe, it was only in Season 3 that we were finally introduced to this intriguing group of villains. Though they play a relatively minor role in the comics, it wouldn't be unexpected for the animated series to give them a more significant part in the grand scheme. Still, the question remains, what the heck is the Order? To put it simply, the Order is a hierarchy of criminal conspiracies spread all across the world, its roots reaching deep into all aspects of Invincible society. For many years, the Order has been pulling the strings in most of the activities that take place in the underworld. They've also managed to escape detection and operate in secret to avoid any action at the hands of the authorities, or the superhero community. In Season 3, Titan, Invincible takes on the absorbing man and revered crime boss, and is tasked with the challenge of breaking Multipol out of GDA's highly secure facility. This was the first time we saw the Order intervene directly in the series events, and this minor B-plot takes a major turn in the episode This Was Not Supposed to Be Easy. Here, we saw the Order's former leader finally take matters into his own hands, and face off against the likes of Invincible. In a minor segment at the end of the episode, we were also introduced to other members of this secretive criminal group. It seems to be comprised of mostly minor villains like Slaying Mantis, Red Eye, and Embrace, which proves that the Order's influence indeed runs deep. Though most of these villains would never really pose a threat to someone like Invincible in a one-on-one fight, they've really been taking advantage of the fact that superheroes in Invincible are kind of distracted by constant alien threats and terrorist attacks. This makes the Order an unpredictable entity that could actually become way more important as the story progresses.
Find a way to get my assassin back. You have 24.
Who's the leader of the Order in Invincible? How Mr. Liu is dethroned from the Order. Though the Order's affairs are mostly hidden away from the public eye, Season 3 finally reveals the fact that his criminal organization is ruled primarily by proxy by Master Liu. Though he might seem like a frail and harmless old man with a prosthetic jaw, don't be fooled by his appearance. Mr. Liu is actually one of the most influential villains in the entire series, and is actually capable of causing more damage than most of the antagonists that Invincible faces on a day-to-day basis. His power comes from the fact that this old man can transform into a gigantic dragon at just a moment's notice. The power displayed by the mystical beast is so great that it can actually hold its own against a powerful foe like Invincible, which is as strong as they can get in this universe. Though he would rather rely on political manipulation and shadowy deals to get things done, Mr. Liu is certainly not afraid of getting his own hands dirty. For example, when Titan goes against the Order's plans to free Multipol from prison, Mr. Liu decides to unleash his fury on Titan by transforming into his dragon form. However, Mr. Liu's dragon has one glaring weakness. It causes Liu to leave behind his body with his bodyguard when he assumes his bestial form. Machine Head, Titan, and Isotope pull off a really masterful move and end up killing Liu by destroying his real body. This opens up a seat in the Order's ranks, and Machine Head wastes literally no time in establishing himself as the new leader of this villainous group. In the meeting that follows, the group decides to leave the main city where Invincible is set up to Titan, which implies that they have personnel present in every part of the world. For now, the city remains safe from the Order's plans, but we all know that things can change pretty quickly when it comes to secret criminal organizations.
Aw, you guys did miss me. This is gonna be so great.
Key members. Master Liu, the former leader of the Order, definitely deserves a bit more attention. This ruthless criminal leader is a kingpin who's known for his aggression as the kingpin who rules over most of the underworld. He's extremely quick to anger and can give into his bestial rage at any moment. But even then, he remains a highly intellectual individual who can easily exploit his own weaknesses. Though we were introduced to Liu properly in the recent season, we did see his dragon form during an attack on Rome, which Debbie Grayson and Omni-Man were visiting for a date. Though Debbie tries to get Omni-Man to stop the villain, Omni-Man refuses, stating that Cecil should earn his paycheck for once. To be honest, we kind of agree with the guy. Anyway, we see much more of Liu in the third season during his conflict against the Titan, but we've already told you about that. Mr. Liu's powers are a form of astral projection, where Liu projected his human body into a dragon. Though this grants him exceptional powers like fire breath, flight, superhuman strength, and regenerative healing, it leaves his human body completely defenseless. This vulnerability eventually ends up being his undoing, as we saw in Season 3.
Oh, it's so good to be back, amigos. Did you miss me?
Machine Head. The Machine Head is an influential criminal cyborg who rules over Invincible's main city with an iron grip. The most distinct part of his character is his machine head. His head and neck are completely made out of gray-colored alloy. His faceplate is black in color, while yellow lines surround his mouth and eyes like a luchador's mask. His head houses a quantum probability chip, which allows him to use quantum computing in order to look at future possibilities. Whenever the Machine Head is using this power, several LED lights flare up around his temple region. This makes Machine Head an extremely powerful tactician who can always stay a couple steps ahead of his enemies. A materialistic, flamboyant, and short-tempered individual, Machine Head's only real concern in this world is amassing unimaginable wealth. He has zero tolerance for failure at the hands of his underlings, and usually reacts violently to such events. It is evident that Machine Head enjoys a luxurious lifestyle and loves showing off his wealth in the form of fine suits and Italian maple furniture. He knows that his great wealth sort of makes him untouchable, and due to this, he's not even afraid of powerful heroes like Invincible. Though Machine Head was betrayed by Titan, he does respect his planning and acknowledges that he underestimated the guy. I guess even criminals can be humble in defeat. Titan. We first met Titan during a jewelry store heist, which was interrupted by Invincible. The two would end up forming a strange bond, but it was not without challenges. For example, when Titan tried to help clean up after an alien invasion, he was attacked by Mark, who believed that the guy would just cause more trouble. Titan would turn out to be a thug who worked for Machine Head. However, due to his deep concern for the underprivileged population in his community, he took control of Machine Head's organization. As a leader, he's been responsible for bringing about many changes that have transformed his community for the better. In the comics, he was genuinely moved by Invincible's death on live television. What makes Titan a dangerous enemy is his unique physiology, which allows him to encase his eyes in rock. This greatly enhances his physical attributes, allowing him to fight against many powerful heroes. He's also a proficient combatant, with plenty of expertise in hand-to-hand combat, but he's still not at the level of a Viltrumite. But then, who is? Embrace. In Invincible Season 3's Episode 5, we're introduced to another minor Image comic villain known as Embrace. She's an Israeli supervillain who showcases powers like flight, invisibility, possession, and teleportation. Though she has not been seen in a fight yet, it would be really interesting to see how her powers fare against Mark's unimaginable strength. Also, it's nice that the creators of Invincible are finally giving the lesser-known villains from Image Comics the attention they deserve.
I've got money!
Isotope. Isotope is a career criminal who has served under both Machine Head and Titan. He used to be just a normal human, but then an accident gave him the power of teleportation. Though he can be whiny and annoying at times, he does serve the important purpose of getting his bosses wherever they want via teleportation. When Titan recruited Invincible to topple Machine Head's reign, Isotope summoned Battle Beast, Kursk, Magmania, Furnace, and Tether Tyrant to defend his boss. However, he's not the most loyal of individuals, as he betrayed both Machine Head and Titan over the course of the show. He has superhuman stamina and uses glowing rings to transport people, objects, and himself wherever he wants. The limits of his ability are yet to be seen. Slaying Mantis. One of the goofier additions to the roster is the Slaying Mantis, a villain that appears in Image Comics. He's meant to be a parody of the Killer Moth from DC Comics and wears a large mantis costume. This costume is equipped with a variety of energy blades and weapons, which enable him to be pretty deadly in combat. It still looks silly as hell though. Red Eye. Red Eye is the Image comic version of Cyclops. After an encounter with an extraterrestrial being, the man was granted heat vision. Though he doesn't play a very significant role in Invincible's story, he's related to Davy, who's pretty important in the grand scheme of things. It's possible that Red Eye's inclusion in the Order scene is an attempt to tease Davy's introduction to the series. Thus, it's possible that we'll hear more from him in the future. Insomniac. This one is definitely the creepiest one on the roster. He's seen sitting at the table wearing a device that forces his eyes to always be open. He possesses telepathic powers, and is yet another minor villain from Image Comics. Though he's not a major player, we're certain that we'll see more of him as the Order gains more significance in the story. Face. This Canadian supervillain can easily be identified by his head, which sports 3 eyes and 2 mouths. Though this is rather creepy, it does make Face very memorable. Though we don't know much about his powers or backstory, we can't wait to find out more about this grotesque character. Walking Dread. This is yet another visually striking villain introduced in the Order scene. He's highly noticeable due to his giant stature and intimidating presence. He also has a variety of powers like super strength, electrokinesis, and electric absorption, which make him a formidable threat. His powers allow him to absorb electricity, which amplifies his strength. The name Walking Dread is a not-so-subtle nod to Rover Kirkman's other masterpiece, The Walking Dead. Though Easter eggs are fairly common in comic book stories these days, Invincible definitely knows how to do it the right way. It would be extremely interesting to see this gigantic villain go up against Invincible, but it's pretty unlikely that he'd win. War Woman 2. The second War Woman also makes an appearance among the members of the table. Unlike her predecessor, who was dedicated to the greater good of humanity, War Woman 2 seems to have taken up a life of crime. She used to be the lover of the original War Woman, and snapped after the original was killed by Omni-Man during the massacre at the Guardians' headquarters. Ever since, she's been devoted to becoming a powerful villain, and has managed to capture Amazonia. She has a prominent seat at the table, and it's likely that she'll be a key figure as we move forward. Her change from hero to villain also covers a lot of overarching themes embedded in Invincible, and thus it'll be extremely interesting to see what the writers do with her next. Marvelous verdict. The Order is proof that earthly supervillains can sometimes be just as deadly as the alien ones. These twisted individuals are all significant threats in their own right, and this brief glimpse at the organization has only left us wanting more. We're sure that we'll see more from them in the future, but that's it for now. But we do want to know which one of these villains is your favorite, so leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our marvelous content. It's time for a goodbye, but don't worry because we'll see you at the next one real soon.